Now let me show you how it works, okay. We have taken 3 spin-half particles as an example in the very beginning. Do you remember? I think in first chapter, am I right? First chapter. So 3 spin-half particles, first particle, second particle, third particle. Is that okay? Spin up, spin up, spin up, isn't it? So 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. It's very difficult, isn't it? So saying 0 and writing arrow, isn't it? Now states, isn't it? These are micro states. We called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Am I right? Now what are the energies? Total energy of the system. Capital E for total energy. I have 3 particle system now. Okay. Actually, our aim is not to apply for 3 particle system. We will apply that one for whole solid. Our paramagnetism is done. But let me show you how it works. I mean, how we can divide the system and we can talk about single particle partition function, okay. What is the energy? Minus 3 mu h, quickly. What is this one? Minus mu h, 1 down, 2 up, again minus mu h, plus mu h, again 2 up, 1 down, minus mu h, 2 down, 1 up, plus mu h, plus mu h, plus 3 mu h. Am I right? What is the partition function for total 3 spin-off system? You have to run your summation over all possible microstate. Beta, can I write ER, where R equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on up to 8, isn't it? So shall I write this one? E power 3 beta mu h. You got 3 of these things, okay? E power beta mu h, E power beta mu h, E power beta mu h, 3 times. So shall I write 3 times? Are you getting my point? This summation should run from 1, 2, 3 and so on, okay? Where ER is the respective energies. ER is the respective energies. Is that okay? So now you get 3 times e raised to beta mu h plus 3 times e raised to minus beta mu h, because this one mu h. Is that okay? Minus mu h, e power minus mu h 3 times. So plus last term is minus 3 beta mu h. Look at here. Yeah. So now consider one particle, one atom. Now consider one atom. One atom can have energy plus or minus mu h. Am I right? Plus mu h or minus mu h. What is the partition function? Z1 e raised to beta mu h plus e raised to minus beta mu h. Now what is Z total for 3 spin-off particle? Z1 power, what is A plus B the whole cube? A cube plus B cube plus 3AB plus 3BA. No, A cube plus B cube plus 3AB into, so will that happen? Will that happen? I am expecting that one. A cube e raised to 3 beta mu h plus e raised to minus 3 beta mu h plus 3AB. Yeah, you'll get that. You'll get that. Isn't it? This is how it works. You can cross check that one. Isn't it? Now, where in this case we have done summation over all possible microstates for combined system. Is that okay? where in this case I have done this called a single particle partition function. I have done summation over all possible energy state of single particle. And total partition function is equal to Z1 power n number of particles. Okay. Yeah, you will get this one 3ab square 3ba square beta mu h plus 3 e raised to minus beta mu h. Yeah, you can do 6.6 also, okay? Finding average energy, 2-level system, finding average energy and finding specific heat, okay? Let me do that one in the evening. You should have tried all of these problems, 6.1, 6.2, 6.4 and 6.6, okay? 6.5, that is continuous distribution. Let me talk about that one now. Is it okay? Try to apply this one. Try to apply this one. Let me do problems in the evening, okay? There is one more formula for entropy, okay? That so he has derived here that I forgot to mention earlier, okay? That formula is regarding individual probabilities, okay? And there are questions on that one also that I forgot to mention. Look at here. So entropy, yeah, we have written I think Kb, so ln of z plus beta into average energy, am I right? So same entropy have got another formula minus Kb summation over R. So probability of getting rth state into log of probability of getting r state. Don't think like it is negative, okay? Probability of getting r state is always less than or equal to 1 log of a quantity which is less than 1, which is negative, okay? It will be positive ultimately. Is that okay? And remember this formula, he has done derivation also. Yeah. Again, everything, he will go to that thermodynamic law, I think second or third law of thermodynamic. Heat supplied is equal to a change in internal energy plus work done, isn't it? Isn't it? That's the second or third law of thermodynamics. Heat supplied is equal to change in internal energy plus work done, like that, okay? So he will go to that formula. He is going to prove many of these formulas, okay? Yeah. Is that over? So this may be helpful. Anyway, when you see old question paper, so try to apply this one, okay? Yeah, now let me do one problem here. Again, you can do 2-level system. That's just similar to paramagnetism problem. So try 6.6, okay? Very nice problem. I think I need this most of the case. Your partition function is a summation, am I right? That may be geometric progression, okay? So you should know what is the sum over geometric progression, okay? List out that one in your formula table. So sum of nth term in geometric progression, sum of infinite term in geometric progression, okay? So just take those two formula. So either Google it or so just recall, okay? Sum over n term in geometric progression, sum over infinite term in geometric progression, okay? So that may be needed because our partition function is a series. So that's why that may be needed. Now let me do this problem so that we can later in the next chapter we can get into Einstein's theory of specific heat, okay? Now look at here, I have, let me take this one as example. I have 1D linear harmonic oscillator in thermal equilibrium. temperature T. Only one. Okay. I can do it for one. If there are n one-dimensional harmonic oscillator, I can multiply my average energy by n. Isn't it? Let us do it for one. So that we can use that one later. Okay. One 1D linear harmonic oscillator in thermal equilibrium with temperature T. Now you have to ask question whether quantum mechanical or classical, whether we have to take energy classically or quantum mechanically. Let us take quantum mechanical. Quantum mechanical linear harmonic oscillator, because energy level are discrete. So now remember, whatever we have done, that is for discrete probability distribution, isn't it? Probability of getting ER. We haven't done theory for the continuous energy level. Okay. So our partition function was summation. Am I right? So why summation? Because our energy level, whatever we had taken, that was discrete here earlier. Okay. That's why let us take quantum linear harmonic oscillator, which is discrete energy level. What is the energy? N plus half h bar omega. Is that okay? So find partition function first. Only one particle. We are talking about only one particle, which is in thermal equilibrium with temperature T. Okay. What is the partition function? Summation over R e raised to minus beta ER. Let me write n here because I have energy level, different energy level. Have got index n where n equal to 0 to infinity, isn't it? Harmonic oscillator, what are the energy levels? You got infinitely many energy levels, isn't it? You got infinitely many energy levels. Okay. A part of this problem is framed as a 6.1. Okay. Do that one later. Now look at here. Now you need to find this partition function. I have written R. Okay. What do you mean by summation over R? Sum over all possible energy level earlier. Okay. That's why I put R. R is replaced by n because my energy is labeled by n here. Okay. In case of harmonic oscillator. Now what is this one? E raised to, what is the first energy? E naught. E naught e raised to minus beta half h bar omega. So plus e raised to minus beta. So 3 by 2 h bar omega. So plus e raised to minus beta. So 5 by 2 h bar omega. So plus and so on. Once you find partition function properly, so you can find average energy quickly, isn't it? What is this one? Geometric progression, isn't it? But we better to use some binomial expansion. Look at, check it out. Okay. So wait a second. Look at the board. Look at the board. E raised to minus beta h bar omega by 2 1 plus e raised to beta h bar omega, e raised to minus beta h bar omega plus e raised to minus beta h bar omega the square plus e raised to minus beta h bar omega the cube and so on. Now what is this one? 1 plus x square plus x cube. 1 by 1 minus x, isn't it? Binomial expansion, isn't it? E raised to minus beta h bar omega by 2 1 by 1 minus e raised to minus beta h bar omega. Now look at here, they may manipulate. You can take this one into denominator and sometimes you can write in terms of sine hyperbolic. Look at here. Let me write in a different way, okay? Look at here, if you want to go to average energy, better to apply log here itself. Is that okay? Apply log, numerator and denominator, so that becomes very simple formula, because anyway, average energy is derivative of log of z, am I right? Apply log and continue, okay? So now if you apply log of z, what would happen? So log of e divided by log of 1 minus e, like that becomes minus beta h bar omega by 2. So plus log of, minus log of 1 plus e raised to, 1 minus e raised to minus beta h bar omega. You should be able to manipulate each and every step, okay? So this one can be taken into denominator, then it would become e power plus by 2 here. You can write that one in terms of sine hyperbolic. E power plus theta, e power minus theta will happen here, okay? But that's not necessary. I think this is the best way to find average energy. Okay, what is the average energy? Look at here, I am using small e. Why? I am talking about one particle in thermal equilibrium with temperature T. So minus dou by dou beta of, so ln of z, am I right? So beta derivative, that is minus h bar omega by 2 minus minus plus, am I right? Minus minus plus, one more minus. So plus 1 minus e raised to minus beta h bar omega into derivative of this term minus minus plus h bar omega e raised to minus beta h bar omega. Check it out. One more minus from this one, okay? One more minus from this one, positive. And then while taking derivative, one more minus from this one minus from derivative. Do it in a couple of steps. Don't do it directly like this. Is that okay? So I can rub out and do that one again, but you have to wait for 6 more months for next CSIR exam. Is that okay? That's why, so keep practicing writing step in detail. It's very difficult. Our mind will always be in a hurry and we'll always try to write the step directly, okay? So, but in CSIR exam, there will be very less question which takes lot of mathematical steps. Is that okay? That's why those questions you have to take care and you have to take space, and do that one carefully, okay? Correct? Now, can you find specific heat? Specific heat, what is specific heat? Minus dou by minus 1 by kb T square dou by dou beta of average energy. Specific heat per particle. This becomes specific heat per particle. Ultimately, you can multiply by n if you have n system, okay? Again, we shall use this one in case of Einstein theory, okay? Do this one. You need to do beta derivative here, okay? You need to do beta derivative. In some exam, I remember this is written in terms of sine hyperbolic, or sine comes to numerator, cosecant hyperbolic, okay? That's why you have to start with the very initial step only. Okay? Can you do this one later? Is that okay? Yeah. Now let me quickly introduce you continuous, how to handle continuous energy distribution, because these all formula whatever we defined, summation, those all for discrete energy distribution, and our probability whatever we defined, that is also for discrete energy distribution. We shall get into continuous energy distribution and how to handle the situation. Again, in next chapter, we will take this one in some more detail, okay? This continuous energy distribution thing. Molecules in an ideal gas. Isn't it? Molecules in an ideal gas, you have to, energy levels are continuous, isn't it? Each particle can freely move. That energy level become continuous, okay? Yeah, suppose if you take a linear harmonic oscillator, classical linear harmonic oscillator, their energy levels are also continuous, am I right? Yeah, in that case, how to apply our probability rule, this whatever the canonical probability distribution, okay? So let me take a title, molecules in an ideal gas. Ideal gas means energy of each molecule That will be am I right? Only kinetic. There is no interaction term. For a time sake, we shall assume there is no gravity. Is that okay? We shall assume there is no gravity. Your, I think, 6.5 question is including gravity, inclusion of gravity into ideal gas, and what would happen, okay? Now look at here, energy is continuous, okay? Let me not take I here. Is that okay? For ith particle, I wanted to write for ith particle, okay? Now look at here, what we have been taught here is, you can define probability distribution for one particle and find average value if you have n particle multiplied by n, isn't it? So that's what we have done earlier. That's why we are not getting into finding the probability of whole system. I mean, for finding the probability for a whole system, just like earlier, okay? So we will go for directly one particle, and we, again, for that, look at here, how do you define probability now? For a molecule in ideal gas, how do you define probability now? Now, wait a second. For a molecule in an ideal gas, what is the specification of state of the system? Yeah, let me start with earlier. Suppose a particle is in quantum harmonic oscillator. What was the specification of state of the system? Quantum number, isn't it? It is in ground state, it is in first excited state, isn't it? Like that, if molecule is free to move throughout the container, what is the specification of state of the system? Position and momentum, isn't it? Now you need to define probability with respect to position and momentum. Probability of getting this position with this momentum. Just like earlier we defined probability of getting this energy level, am I right? We have written probability of getting ER earlier. Because we had discrete energy level, particles were occupied. So those levels, isn't it? Now, so here in this case, earlier, if you have discrete energy level, the mentioning of energy level or this quantum number are the specification of state. But in this case, so position and momentum are specification of the state. Then you have to talk about probability of getting the particle with this position and this momentum. And now that probability becomes continuous probability. Is that okay? You can't talk about very sharp values, isn't it? Here you can talk about probability of getting the ground state, am I right? Probability of getting E naught, isn't it? You can talk about that one. That is proportional to e raised to minus beta E naught, am I right? Like that, you can talk about that one. But in this case, you can't talk about directly probability of getting this one at that position, remember. So because it is very continuous variable. So now what we have to do, we need to talk about like this, look at here. Probability of finding the particle, so whose position is range from R to R plus dr. In quantum mechanics, we have done like that, isn't it? Mod psi square is probability, mod psi square dx is probability of finding the particle in the region x to x plus dx, isn't it? Similarly, it is in 3 dimension, okay? Whatever I am writing, so let me state that one. Probability of finding the particle, so with position range from R to R plus dr and momentum range from P to P plus dp. Is that okay? That is written like this. So P of R comma P d cube of R d cube of P. This is a kind of probability density. And you have to multiply with these two. And you have to talk about range now. Yeah, he's saying it is getting stuck. Okay. Is that okay? Now look at here. So that should be proportional to e raised to minus beta into energy. That rule we are not changing. Are you getting my point? That rule we are not changing. But when you talk about R to R plus dr and P to P plus dP, you are talking about some volume in the phase space, isn't it? You are talking about some volume in the space, and all of those phase cell in those volume. What is that volume of the phase space? This is the volume of the phase space. Am I right? D cube of R, D cube of P. One particle. How many degree of freedom? 3 degree of freedom. So how many? What is the dimension of phase space? 6 dimension. X, Y, Z, Px, Py, Pz. Okay. This is the volume of your phase space. This is a small volume of phase space. Okay. Now you got some volume of the phase space, and all cell means you need to divide again phase space into small small volume of H naught raised to 3, isn't it? So now to count the number of possible states. So that's why. So now we are talking about volume in the phase space. Is that okay? And all phase cell in that volume have got same energy. That's what we assume. And in that case, this should be multiplied with d cube of R. Let me argue this one again, okay, in the next chapter. D cube of P divided by H naught cube divided by H naught cube. Or you can think like this also. This should be unitless because this is the probability. So again, so if I write d cube of R, d cube of P, here also I should have d cube of R, d cube of P. Isn't it? Then it should be unitless. That's why I have to divide by something which is of the dimension of this one. You can think like that also. And that proportionality constant is again e raised to beta e equal to P square by 2m for ideal gas. Is that okay? Now this is our continuous probability distribution, and so there is no loss if you put constant here equal to constant, okay? Because anyway, those constant will not come in our average value. We shall have a lot of trick here. We shall not normalize that one. We shall not go to normalization at all, okay? Because you have this kind of average value, integral psi star q cap psi dx divided by integral of psi star psi, isn't it? We shall take this kind of technique. We shall not normalize in this particular situation, okay? We shall not go to normalization at all. So now look at here, you can argue in a different way. One is, probability proportional to e raised to minus beta e. Now you need to keep this factor, but you better to divide by this one. Is that okay? But the actual thing here is, what is this one whole thing? This is volume of the phase space. Am I right? This is a volume of the phase space. dx dy dz, dpx, dpy, dpz. So now this is volume of the phase space divided by phase cell volume that we have divided into, where H naught is too small, arbitrarily small, and this becomes number of phase cell actually. Is that okay? That becomes number of phase cell. Just like earlier, just before, I had spin up, spin down, spin up, spin down, spin up, spin up, spin up, spin up, spin down. Am I right? What are the energies for this one? Minus beta mu h, minus mu h, minus mu h, minus mu h. I have written 3 times e raised to beta mu h. Am I right? I got 3 different microstate. Corresponds to same energy. That's why I have written 3 into this one while doing the partition function. Am I right? So in the same way, I got these many phase cells corresponds to same energy in the continuous manner. So that's why this factor is very much needed, or you can argue in a different way. Yeah, just read out the book. Is that okay? Now this is our probability distribution. Now again, I'll continue in the evening, okay? I'll continue in the evening so that you do problem related to discrete distribution, okay? That is sufficient. It's not? Which one? This is volume of the phase space, elemental volume of the phase space. This is volume of the one phase cell that we have divided, because very earlier we have taken one concept. division of phase space into a volume of h naught raised to f. Why we divide? We divide to count number of number of states actually. When we have phase space formalism for continuous energy, we got infinitely many states, microstates, isn't it? So to make it countable, we have a concept of division of phase space into volume h naught raised to degree of freedom. Is that okay? So that's why we have divided that one into h naught cube actually here. Okay. So that made that had a lot of problem because our entropy also depends on that h naught, isn't it? So now I am going to divide phase space into different volume. You are going to divide phase space into different volume, isn't it? Where h naught is not mentioned over there. It should be as small as possible. So that's why. So anyway, whenever you take ratio, I mean, for any average value, you can have a ratio, just like earlier I had written that expectation formula, isn't it? It's a kind of ratio. This will get cancelled actually. It doesn't matter how you divide. Even though that introduces uncertainty in our entropy formula contains h naught, isn't it? Division of phase space, okay? That will not come in any of our average values, which is actually physical quantity. Because anyway you can take ratio. And one more thing, remember, don't go for normalization unless they ask that one specifically. Is that okay? Don't go for normalization, that is not needed here at all. Okay. Now when you go to quantum mechanics, this phase cell volume cannot be less than Planck constant. Okay. We are going to replace this h naught by Planck constant. Now h naught is of the order of angular momentum, that it can be classically any value. There is no uncertainty. Is that okay? That whatever the division of phase cell concept I have taken, the same thing I am talking about here. Is that okay? And this corresponds to a kind of number of phase cell. This becomes number, isn't it? We counted number of states like that. Do you remember? Integral of dq1, dq2 and so on divided by h naught raised to f. Am I right? That's what I have done here. For one particle in 3 dimension, I have 3 position. So dx, dy, dz, dpx, dpy, dpz. Just like q1, q2, q3, p1, p2, p3 divided by h naught cube. I am talking about similar thing. Okay, this is number of state with this energy. Is that okay? Number of phase cell with that energy. And this factor is necessary. Why? You are talking about continuous distribution. If you have d cube of r, d cube of p, you should have d cube of d or d cube of p. Isn't it? Then only you can integrate and you can show total probability equal to 1. You can do any average value, isn't it? So in that sense, this factor should be there. Yeah. Yeah, we shall see in the evening, okay? Let me continue with this one. In next chapter, we will concentrate on this one, okay? Because our Gibbs paradox will come in, again, ideal gas situation only, where again we need to have entropy. We need to find entropy in that case. After finding entropy, we will find what is the inconsistency in that entropy formalism, okay? Yeah. No, look at here. Here, this h naught is our choice, okay? So, particles are moving in space, okay? He is asking how h naught can be arbitrarily small. Remember, h naught is after you have phase space curves, okay? You have phase space here, q, p, okay? So, particles are moving like this, is that okay? Particles are moving, when particles move in a gas, your phase space curve will move, isn't it? Now, now we are dividing that one to count because, so here you have infinitely many states, isn't it? You have infinitely many microstate, okay? So, phase point will move as time goes on, phase point will move and that trajectory we call that one as phase space curve. Is that okay? Suppose if you take one-dimensional linear harmonic oscillator, Px, x, what it will be? It will be ellipse, isn't it? We have seen that one. One-dimensional linear harmonic oscillator, isn't it? I mean, as time moves on, the phase point will move. The problem here was to count number of possible states, isn't it? It was infinite because a line contains infinitely many points, isn't it? And each phase point represents one state, one microstate, isn't it? So to make that one countable, we are making that one, we are dividing that one, okay? So now our division or something that has nothing to do with its motion, okay? Its motion is different. And here our division is because to count that one, 1, 2, 3 and so on like that. And we want to make it as small as possible so that we have very less loss, because so whenever you have this, you count this one as 1 point, this one as 1 point, at some instant of time particle was here, isn't it, in between. That's why H0, better to make H0 as small as possible, okay? But when you go to quantum mechanics, our uncertainty principle will not allow to make that phase cell volume arbitrarily small. Is that okay? Yeah, that's our choice. Remember, it has nothing to do with motion of the particle. This division of the phase space has nothing to do with motion of the particle. This is our picture, okay? This is how we see the system. Is that okay? I mean, you can now you can think like that. Your phase space is divided into phase cells. Now your particle is moving in such a way that your system is changing in such a way that it is going from one phase cell to other phase cell, adjacent phase cell. Is that okay? So that you can count that one. Even though that becomes infinite when H0 is arbitrarily small, but look at here. So yeah, when we have any average value, we can do that one. We can have this one. It doesn't matter what is this one. It doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, we shall see that one in the next class. Which one? Of course. I mean, suppose if you have a container, what is the probability of finding the particle outside the container? It will be 0. Temperature. When you maintain temperature 0, beta becomes infinity, e power minus infinity. No, temperature, you can't go to 0, okay? You can't go to 0 temperature. Then actually particles are not moving at all. Then energy also becomes 0. Energy also becomes 0. Okay. Yeah, again, that we shall come to that point in the next one. I mean, yeah, that we should not apply classical statistics for a very low temperature. That's what I want to quote. Is that okay? When you go to very low temperature, it's not behavior of individual particle. Okay, it's a collective behavior. So again, you can have particle with 0 momentum. That's our Bose-Einstein condensation. Okay. But we need to change whole picture itself. Here, look at here. Again, I defined individual probability, isn't it? Probability for one particle, just like earlier. Now, in case of very low temperature, again, none of these theories can be applicable. You can see we can't explain specific heat at low temperature. Am I right? So that is one of the drawback, isn't it? So that is the drawback. That is because of this one. Whatever the statistics we have here, where you can apply your canonical distribution formula for one particle, you can multiply by n. Is that okay? Those things will not work. I mean, there is no individuality when you have very low temperature. Particles should be considered together. If you have 2 electrons, or if you have some electron which are so together in a solid, suppose metal, the whole system acts like one system. You can't take individual electron, and that is the behavior. In that case, we need to apply statistics for whole. Okay, that is again next chapter, 8th or 9th chapter. Okay, quantum statistics. Yeah, we can't apply this one at very low temperature. Okay, at very low temperature, it will fail, and as we shall show in specific heat of solid. Okay, how it fails. Yeah. So do all of those discrete energy problem and let me upload some more problem from YKLim and solve them also. Okay, we shall see in the evening. He's asking, can there any substance having different spins of its constituent element? Then we have to mix those things, mix two different material, and we can work out. I mean, yeah, he's asking, we have taken all spin half atoms, isn't it, in the material? I have taken one material, okay? Material with different spin, no, I think that will not happen. I mean, usually material means usually same type of atoms will be there, isn't it, usually? If you are talking about some alloy or something, I mean, two dissimilar material, it's very difficult to form a solid out of two dissimilar material, one thing. So second one, if you are talking about different atom with different spin, then that problem would be a little difficult. Okay, I mean, how to say, if you have spin 3/2 atom, then again you got 4 different possibilities. Again you have to work out situation for it. Okay, we don't have situation, we are not applying this one to the situation where different atom have got different energy level. That's what he is talking about, isn't it? So all n atom in our system, I mean, we are applying it to very simplest case. All atom in the system have got same defined energy levels. Okay, suppose I have n harmonic oscillator like that. We are applying like that. Okay, if you have different thing, so that problem would be a little difficult because you need to apply different probability distribution for different. Anyway, partition function is multiplicative. Partition function is multiplicative. You need to write Z1 into Z2 into Z3 like that. Earlier I have done Z1 whole power n, isn't it? If different individual atom have got different definition of energy level, suppose one is spin 3/2, one is spin 5/2, one is spin half, then you have to write individual partition function. You have to multiply that one properly to find total partition function. Then you can use the total partition function for average energy. But in that case, you don't do average energy for one particle and apply that for n particle. Okay, that is true only when total system, total partition function can be written as Z1 power n. Is that okay? So that's why we are applying this one for simplest case where all atoms in a solid are of same type. Okay. Yeah. Now let me upload one more. Yeah, I'll upload one more file here, okay, from YKLim. So try those problems also. We shall see in them.